What's up, gamers? This is Proto, and welcome to another episode of Like or Dislike, where we look at some of the latest games that come out. I give you an overview of the game, let you know some pros and cons at the end if you're thinking about giving it, and just my overall thoughts about the game while you guys check out some gameplay at the same time. So today we are checking out Drake Hollow. Now this is a third-person action-adventure survival type game with some nice base building mechanics and a community management system built in it as well. Now if you play State of Decay 2 or any type of those type of survival type games where you have a community management, you'll get some vibes of that type of system. But they have a nice little twist on this one. Now you play as a person that's going through a really bad point in your life. I'm talking about bills, bad job, breakup, etc. Worst of the worst. When you get carried away to a world called the Hollow to help these magical creatures called Drakes get their power back, cleanse their land of the evil that's taking it over, and then return it home. Now you have to build a base to bring the Drakes to that you discover. Give them food, water, shelter, protection, etc. and raise them to get their magical power up. This is where the management system comes in play, because the Drakes start off needing basic things, but as they get older their needs will change. In exchange, they give you buffs and rewards to your stats, along with giving you access to more items to improve your camp. Now the Drakes are, in my opinion, really cute little grass-like creatures. Like I said, they help you out while you take care of them. But they can be needy from time to time, especially at the child stage, because they start off as an infant and they go to an adult stage. I ain't gonna lie, as the infant, they're a little needy, but it's rewarding when you see them being happy and getting what they need. Now the buffs that I was talking about are very unique to each Drake, and they come in handy when you're doing resources runs, but you can only have one at a time. And I've seen some interesting ones. I've seen a buff that gives me extra supplies when I'm searching for stuff, help find more supplies. One that gives me better melee damage, one that actually makes my enemies run away from me if I attack one of them. It's really interesting, so it's like really depending on like your play style or what you're doing on your resource run, which type of buff you want to have. Now when you do these runs, you're checking the other islands for materials to craft. They're in good hiding spots everywhere on each of the islands, and you're really rewarded for taking your time to look around. While you're out, you can find supply trucks, and if you take the time to connect them back to your base, they will send you supplies over time. Plus you'll have this little laser that they travel on to move faster. So sometimes if you don't want to use resources to travel between island and island because you have like this little smoke and you have to use these little shards to get through, you just have it connected to your base. You can just ride the laser all the way to wherever you're trying to go to, or as far as it takes you, and you keep on going from there. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now while you're out looking for supplies, you will have to fight creatures that want to eat the Drakes, and the combat is actually quite rewarding. There are a few different types, from little regular grunts to big heavy guys that charge at you, that have long distance weapons, and good variety types of them. Now they're easy to fight one-on-one, but when they're in groups you will have to either plan your attacks out or you have to try to avoid them. Like I said, taking them one-on-one is not a problem, but when you have a variety together, their AI, they work together. So it's like you gotta plan out that you have enough resources to fight them, heal yourself. Can you pull back if you need to? Because if you die, you can actually go back and pick up your body, which I think is really cool. Or you can take the sacrifice of responding back at the camp, but all your weapons are degraded some. So I thought that was a pretty nice little feature to do. Now these creatures will try to raid your camp when with a countdown they'll start till it happens. Now the raids are challenging and the rewards are good when you fight them. Now they can get a little annoying when you're playing solo, but you can play with other people in multiplayer, so you can leave people at the camp to protect it while others are out. And that was probably one of my gripes on it. Like I said, I was doing a solo run, and it's just, I ain't gonna say the raids were constant, but it's like when I was far out or exploring, I get a raid countdown, and I've got to make sure I get time to get back in and go protect my Drakes, because if I don't, they're going to destroy everything. Now combat wise, you have melee and ranged weapons that you'll be able to find and use, and even though they look funny to carry around and use, they are really powerful and they really are worth searching for. Like I said, like your ranged weapons, you got a bow and arrow, you got this little blunderbuster which is supposed to be a gun, you got a nail gun, You have weed spray, which I thought was funny, and melee weapons could be anything from a stick to a frat paddle to a lot of funny things. But like I said, they are pretty fun to use. Now, you can craft items either on the go or using the crafting station at your base. Your drakes help build and maintain repairs on your base items. Like I said, they are adorable, but they are really useful around the base. And it's pretty cool when you see them building stuff, because you'll pretty much set up, say, hey, I want this built. A drake will walk up, they'll stick their hands in the ground, and they'll just start building it up, literally like it's growing out of the ground. And I thought that was really cool. Now, the art style is similar to a Fortnite look, but it does very well using the bright and dark colors in this game. Graphics wise, it's very satisfying to the eyes. I didn't really have any frame rate drops or the game crashing on me, which is definitely a good sign. And all this gameplay you guys have seen is coming from the Xbox One X version. And that's pretty much the overall of the game. With that being said, let's jump into the pros versus the cons. And start off with the pros. The first one we're going to go with is the combat. The combat in the game, like I said, is very satisfying. Not every fight is going to be the same. Like I said, if you're fighting with a group of them, you got to plan your attacks out. You'll find different melee weapons, trying them out. So it's very satisfying, especially when you clear out an area of enemies and you find a ton of supplies. It's definitely worth it. Now, the next pro we're going to look at is the community management. I like how the community management is in this game. Like I said, some people may find it a little bit annoying, you know, making sure they have their needs, but if you play survival games like this, you're accustomed to it. And like I said, their needs aren't like extremely crazy, but as they get older, like you said, their needs will change. And that makes the game more dynamic. It doesn't just stick with the same thing like, oh, they just need this, they need this. Well, when they get to this stage now, they need this and no longer that. So now you got to plan on how to get this to them. And I definitely like that. And the last pro we're going to look at is the atmosphere. I love the atmosphere of this game. It's like, to me, a good balance of a survival game with a management system in it. It's not overly easy, but it's not extremely hard. It's a good way to get into games like this. So with the pros done, let's take a look at the cons. And starting off with the cons, first one we're going to look at is the controls. Now, the controls can seem a little complicated at first, and you really gotta like play around with it. You might end up using some resources by accident because you're learning the controls. Believe me, I did it several times. And it's just because they incorporate a lot of things using the D-pad along with you using everything else. So it might make some people mad. I can see it maybe turn off maybe 1 or 2 people, but I can see it being annoying in the beginning when you're learning the game. So the next con we're gonna look at is the raids. And like I said, if you're doing solo runs playing the game, that's where the raids become annoying, because you could be far out doing searching. Now you got to stop what you're doing just to come back and stop these raids. But like I said, if you're playing with other people, it's not a big deal. 1 person or 2 people can be left at the camp to protect it while the other ones are doing resource runs. Or if you're all out doing resources runs, at least 1 person or 2 people can go back. So, but keep that in mind if you're a solo person. And the last one we're going to look at is that the game can be grinding. But that's the thing about these survival type games. You're going out, you're doing resources, you may be doing the same thing 5, 10, 20, 100 times. But if you don't like that, this might not be the game for you, because you will be doing resource runs. You go out, you're going to be looking for resources for your drakes. You're going to be fighting enemies. So if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do that all the time, if you're looking for something more dynamic with a puzzle building, something like that, might not be the game for you. But that's just my that's the overall pros and cons of the game. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm having so much fun playing this game. Once you learn the basics and you start exploring, you really get into the game, and I'm really loving this. I may stream some of the game, start from a brand new one to show people how it's going, but I'll decide on that. I'll see where I can fit it in on my streaming schedule for which day. But that's pretty much the end of the review. Let me know how you guys feel about it. If you guys already got the game, let me know what you like or what you don't like about it. If you guys enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that like button. That lets me know that you guys enjoy reviews like this, and I'll try to review more games. And if there's a certain game you want me to review, hit me up and I'll try to see if I can pick up a copy and review it. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I talk about stuff going on in the gaming and tech world. I do reviews on some of the latest gaming tech that's out. I do a top 10 new games coming out every month and so much more. Make sure to follow on social media pages so you can keep up to date what's going on, or if you want to reach out to me. I love talking about gaming, so don't be afraid to hit me up. Catch me streaming on Twitch, playing indie, PC, and console games. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Multiplayer Mondays, Indie Day Wednesdays, Story Day Saturdays. So it's something for everybody. But don't be afraid to hop in. I love chatting up with people when I'm playing games. But this is Proto, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.